Hey guys, welcome back to Transformers G1 for Life, where I talk about G1 toys and related cartoon continuity.
Today we're looking at Reflector, so go ahead and hit that subscribe and like button and leave me a comment. This is how Reflector looked in the cartoon. He is a camera used for surveillance and reconnaissance. The camera is the result of 3 Decepticons transforming and combining together. He appeared in a bunch of Season 1 and Season 2 episodes, but he disappeared after the movie. The disappearance, of course, was to make way for additional characters and toys. With no in-universe reason given, we didn't even get to see him die like many of the other characters. And yes, I know continuity was not a concern, and there were very little explanations given on anything, and later episodes could even contradict something that was established previously, but let me know your thoughts and leave me some comments on in-universe theories about what happened to Reflector. I read a funny one that said he left the war to pursue his passion in photography. I never really thought about it, I just assumed that the 3 bots died post-movie. This is the G1 toy. They were named Spectro, Viewfinder, and Spyglass, unlike in the cartoon where they were only referred to as Reflector. Also, unlike the cartoon, each bot had its own unique look. The cartoon made the design of all 3 follow the same color scheme and details, which made it a lot easier for animation, with the exception of the middle guy who had the camera lens. But I do like that each one of the toys had its own unique figure. In the US, you couldn't buy this on the shelves, it was only a mail order toy, so you would send in some money and some robot points and then you would get this back. So I, unfortunately, do not have this one, but what I do have, however, is the Papa Toys PPT-01 camera, a knockoff of Reflector, and it's pretty awesome. The figures resemble what we see in the cartoons, and the set comes with a lot of accessories. Leave me a comment if you have this KO and what you think of it, or if you have the G1 figure, let me know how it compares. So let's start with what we see on the box. There's some nice cover art, various weapons and things. There's also a picture of the camera, and we see in the art that parts of the camera also make up pieces of armor. The back of the box shows more accessories. There's lots of stuff here, so let's open it up.
So this is everything here, 3 bots at the top, the flash, this part, shield, and that, some gun pieces, tripod, and a whole bunch of accessories there. So we're going to take a look at all of these. All right, so let's take out the bots. They are exactly the same. Each one transforms exactly the same. Each one has all the same movements. The only difference is that, we have here, this guy has that center lens or camera shutter. But these guys have a lot of ball and socket joints, so there's a lot of articulation that you can get with them. You can really put them in a lot of different poses. Right, there's these back parts to the legs. So this is hollow here because when you transform, those fold up into the arms. The arms get covered up by that, but there are these flaps here that you can have like that to close up that gap. I'll just leave that open for now. And this front part here is green. When I first got these guys, I wasn't paying attention to that. I did a stop motion using a green screen, and then everything on the video I did, that was just see-through. You can see the back. Let's take a look at some of the accessories. We'll start with the flash. As I mentioned with the cover box, you can see that a lot of these pieces are used for armor and things like that, so secondary functions. So this comes out. This piece of the flash has these double handles. We'll talk about that in a minute. But we have these pieces that become shoulder armor, and it is really difficult to get these on. You have to really force them in place, which I don't quite like how difficult it is, and maybe I just haven't figured out the trick, but it just feels like a lot of force to get these things into place. Okay, there's one. Okay, and there is 2. So those are shoulder armor. All right, now, this is the other piece of the flash, and it has those 2 handles. So what we saw on the box art, that gun right there that this guy appears to be holding, he's holding this with one hand there and one hand here, and there's this extended part of that gun. So what that is the tripod. So this is the tripod that would open up like that to hold the camera. But with it closed, we can put it into this part of the piece here. And then we have this large laser cannon type gun. And so there's all different ways that you can pose because of the ball and socket joints. But the way that cover art has it, this is in one, and then the other arm is kind of, he's holding it like that. Right, I'm not gonna force it into place, but that's basically how it was shown on the cover art, where he's holding it with those two hands. All right, and then we have this part here. So this, when is the camera, is the bottom part of the camera, but when it's just by itself, it has a handle on the inside, and this can be used as a shield when we get it into one of their hands. So if we just pop this in here, we have this lens part, which also comes apart in a few pieces. So we have this, that comes off, and then the other one comes off as well on the other side. And then we have this piece. So I guess this can be like a jetpack, or I don't know, it just goes on the guy's back like a backpack, essentially. So if we take this, we turn him around, and we see that there are these two large pegs there, and this just snaps in like that, nice and easy. And then he has that, I guess, jetpack or backpack, whatever you want to call it, some extra power. Now, one of the other things as part of the camera is the camera button, which is this. And that can actually go here when we have it in this mode. So it just goes on the top there. And then we have this part of the camera, which covers the center guy's head. And this also pulls apart. And then these pieces become shoulder armor, just like the lens part did. And again, also difficult to squeeze this in. Again, like I said, I don't really like how much I have to force this, and maybe I haven't figured out the trick, but there we go. So that guy has some shoulder armor as well. So there's pieces that can go on to each one of these guys. Okay, so we also have weapons in this. Oh, before I forget, there's these that I think these parts just snap onto the arms and basically become, I don't know, little arm shields, I guess. Kind of like that. I don't know, something like that. They can just go on there. So now we have the weapons. So there's these three guns. There's three of everything, right? So we have three of this piece, three of this piece here, and then there are three of this piece, which is like the scope for the gun. So this can all be put together to make one long gun. Like that. And then this can go into their arms. So, just like that. Okay, it's a nice long gun. Now, you can make three of those guns based on what they give you, or you could just kind of put this individually in one of their hands, or the other blaster part individually into their hands. You don't have to actually put that whole gun together for it to work. There's a whole bunch of little faces. So I guess their faces pop off. I've never done this, but I have about, I think there's like 9 different faces, and all it changes is the mouth, like how far the mouth is open. That's another, so you see the mouth is a little bit wider on that one. So that's all those are. I guess it's pretty cool if you want to make different expressions, I suppose. I never really did anything with those. The other thing that exists with these weapons is a knife and a knife sheath. So this here, like that. This also has a little peg there. So these can be stored actually on the back of the shield if you're looking for a place to store them. So there's these 3 slots, 3 holes there that those can go into. So you can actually store all 3 of the knives into that shield. Makes it a little difficult to get them out once you have those in. Oops, but they do store there. Okay, because this knife has this little peg on there, I was thinking there would be somewhere on the actual bot, just take this off, where you could store it. I was looking somewhere like on the leg, maybe they like would reach down and grab that up, but there wasn't any spot on the leg where it could fit, right? These little slots are too thin. The only place that I found where it would fit is right on the back here, in this spot here, fits perfectly, right in the poop chute. So I guess that's kind of like the waistline, I suppose. I mean, you could do like a pose like that where they're kind of reaching back to get that knife, and that's kind of cool. Again, lots of different poses that you can make with these guys because of those ball and socket joints. All right, so those are the bots. Those are all the accessories. So now let's just go ahead and transform them into the camera. Now they all transform in the exact same way. So I'm just going to show one, and then I'll fast forward, or after I have all three transformed, we'll look at how to put them together as the camera. But these flaps in the back for those legs should be open. So these are open right now. So, right, like that. So those should be open. And then the legs snap together, just like that. These toe parts flip up. So it should go that way. Okay, so once that's like that, these arms go down and around, and then up. So like that behind the back, and then the legs just flip up like that. Whoops. And that is how you transform each one of the bots. So that's one, that's two, and that's three. So now that we have all three, we put them together. So only this guy faces forward and the others turn around. And then there's these slots and pegs, and we just put those together. Okay, that's one. These are slightly hard to get in place as well. Okay, and that's two. So those three are together. This piece that was the shield becomes the bottom of the camera. These pieces flip up. Oh, I did this wrong. This guy is supposed to be in the center. Hold on. There we go, I fixed that. So now that that guy's in the center, this piece goes at the bottom. And that covers the bottom of the camera. So now we put on the accessories and it'll look exactly like a camera. All right, so the first thing, we're gonna put this back together. This was that's the big lens. We'll put the button on. That goes there, okay. And this is gonna close up like that. Okay, that goes here. Just like that. And now we have to put these back together. Okay, that one's easy. And that just goes here on the front head, middle head. And we're gonna put this back together. And there we have it. That is the Papa Toys PPT-01 reflector camera. We can put the tripod on here. Alright, so that looks pretty cool. So I never had the original G1 toy, but I understand you could look through it and press the button down and it would make a click sound. So unfortunately, this doesn't do any of that. You can't see through it, right? There's no place to look. And the button doesn't do anything, so it's all just for show. There's no spring action, click action, anything like that. But it is still pretty cool, but that is all there is to it. So I hope you like seeing this KO. Please subscribe and like, leave me a comment, transform, and roll out.